Hey guys, Mr. Terhar here with your e-learning lesson for April the 13th. Today we're going to continue on our Journey 2050 unit, and we're going to talk about plant health. And we're going to discuss uh, why it's important to keep plant health as a high priority, but just as importantly, how we can keep plant health a high priority while still conserving our natural resources and still taking care of the resources that we have. So how are nutrients depleted from the soil? When we say depleted, we're talking about, over the course of time, the minerals and the nutrients found in that soil that are so important for plant health being slowly mined and removed and never replaced. It would be like if we had, let's say we had a class snack cabinet and we had chips and cookies and all kinds of yummy stuff in there. And us as a class, every single day, everybody came in and grabbed a piece of candy or a bag of chips, but no one ever put any bags of chips or put any snacks back in that cabinet. Well, eventually, what's going to happen to that cabinet? We're not going to have any more snacks, right? Kind of the same thing. Over the course of time, those nutrients get depleted. Well, how do they get depleted? Well, there's several ways in which that can happen, and that's what we're going to talk about today. Could farmers add too many nutrients to their fields? Is it possible to put too much of a nutrient in a field? Absolutely, it is. The one that comes to mind is nitrogen. Corn needs a lot of nitrogen in order to grow and in order to be productive. But at the same time, too much nitrogen is a bad thing. It can actually over stimulate that corn and can actually cause damage. So uh, too much is a problem, is just as much of a problem as not having enough of a nutrient. Could farmers also not add enough nutrients? Once again, absolutely they could. If farmers don't add enough nutrients, that's going to create a bevy of issues as well. It's all about finding that sweet spot where we're providing enough nutrients for the plants without providing too much. If growing plants deplete soil nutrients, why should farmers continue to grow crops? It's a valid question. If uh, planting corn uses nitrogen, why do we plant corn? Why do we keep planting corn if all it does is use nitrogen? And that's a valid question. And hopefully by the end of uh, this unit over the next couple days, you'll be able to answer that question. Obviously, we need those crops and we need those plants for the food that we eat. So how do we produce it sustainably? And you're going to see this term sustainability come up time and time again over the course of our Journey 2050 unit. What is sustainability? Well, when you think of sustainability, what does that mean? It's kind of like if, let's say that, well, okay, let's say that uh, instead of going to the grocery store one night, let's say you're with your family, and instead of going to the grocery store, there's not really much in the cupboard to make. And this is a post quarantine life that I'm proposing right here. Let's say that your parents say, well, instead of cooking, I don't feel like cooking tonight. Let's go out to eat. Let's go to, let's say, Texas Roadhouse, and everybody can eat a steak. Okay, and that's great. That's a nice treat. It's a nice way to get out with your family and experience a nice meal out. But could you feasibly probably do that every night? You know, with with the budget in your family, and I mean, I'm saying it from my perspective. I know I couldn't. Is it feasible to think that a family could go out to eat at Texas Roadhouse every single night? No, it's not sustainable. It's something that you can do once or maybe twice or, every now and then, but to do it time after time after time over several days, several weeks, several months, it's just not feasible, to the average family to think about taking a family of four, five, six people out to eat at a steakhouse every night is just not sustainable. It's not feasible. Well, it's kind of the same way with agriculture. Yeah, we can do some things here and there, but we're talking about methods that we can use to produce food that are sustainable over the course of several years, several decades, several centuries, so that we are taking care of our planet and uh, conserving those natural resources that we know to be so important. Okay, so we're going to watch, or I want you guys to watch a video. Once again, I'm going to press pause on this and let you watch it on your own computer so you can hear the full audio. But the link to the video is on Canvas. I want you to watch the video. And as you watch the video, I want you to keep these four questions in mind. What three primary nutrients are necessary for healthy plant growth and how can they be replenished? How does a plant resist diseases and pests? What are the best management practices? And then what are the four R's? So uh, press pause on this video, go watch the plant health video on Canvas, the second video, and then come back and we will discuss. So in that video, I thought they did a great job summarizing why nutrients are important, but just as importantly, the role that we have in terms of keeping those nutrients sustained and keeping those nutrients in the soil and not depleting our soil to a point where uh, we're not able to use it again. Because if we deplete soil, we have to move on to other land to grow our food, and that obviously takes away from natural habitats and is very damaging to the ecosystem. So why does soil matter? Now, I hope at this point in time you can answer this question in this class because uh, it's obvious why soil matters. It provides a stable, uh, basically home for plant growth to occur. The crops that we eat grow in the soil, like potatoes, like lettuce, like beans, as well as the crops that we use to feed to livestock to give us things like meat, milk, and eggs. Now, in the video, they said that there were three primary nutrients that plants needed to grow. Okay, did you catch those? Nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium. And each of those three nutrients provide a different uh, function for that plant. Okay, they said that nitrogen was the uh, nutrient that was necessary for chlorophyll production and manufacturing to allow that plant to have its nice, healthy green color that allows it to collect that sunlight needed to manufacture energy. Phosphorus was the enforcer. Phosphorus was used to uh, take that sun and capture that sunlight uh, for photosynthesis. And then finally, potassium was the protector. Potassium is kind of like the immune system for the plant. It protects that plant from diseases and from pests. So we use the analogy in the video, they use the analogy of the soil as a bank. Okay, and I think that's a great analogy. Kind of goes along with our snack cabinet analogy that we used. So if you have a bank account and all you ever do is withdraw from that bank account, if all you ever do is take money out, what's eventually going to happen if you don't make any deposits? Well, eventually you're going to run out of money and you're going to deplete that bank account. So we have to, just as often as we make withdrawals, we have to make deposits. Now, there's several ways in which we do that. So where do those plant nutrients come from? Nature. Okay, they're natural resources. So there are natural uh, plant nutrient providers. Manure is a great one. Manure is a great source of nitrogen because it comes from cattle and from pigs. And what do we feed those cattle and pigs? Well, corn. Okay, in large part, they eat that corn and they absorb some of that nitrogen. But a good amount of nitrogen is still in their feces once it leaves their body. Okay, so we take that manure and we apply it to our fields, and it's a great source of nitrogen. And that's a very sustainable fertilizer source because it's utilizing a waste product that still contains, um, useful nutrients. There are synthetic fertilizers that we can make, so that we can manufacture synthetic nitrogen, synthetic phosphorus. Okay, those are great as well as organic compost. Okay, so if you take anything organic and let it decompose, eventually it makes great fertilizer. And more people are beginning to actually compost in their own home. We talked about food wastage and some solutions that we had to reduce the amount of food that was wasted. Well, some people are taking this issue on by composting. So instead of throwing their leftover food scraps out into the trash, they actually are taking them and putting them in a compost pile in their backyard. And that compost is decomposing, and eventually it makes really, really fertile fertilizer that you can use in your garden. How does overall plant health affect a plant's ability to resist diseases and pests? If you guys are, not getting enough nutrients, if you're not getting enough sleep, not getting enough rest, what does that do to your ability to fight off diseases? What does that do to your immune system? Does that make it harder or easier to keep from getting sick? Well, it makes it a lot harder to keep from getting sick because when the body is tired, when it's not getting the nutrients that it needs, the immune system feels the effect from that. And as a result, your health starts to take a hit. And plants are the same way. So, which person is more likely to get sick if exposed to the same contagious illness? We've got person A, who eats a balanced diet, exercises, and is in good health. And then we have person B, who eats a poor diet, doesn't exercise, and generally less healthy. Well, if both people are exposed to the same disease, which one is more likely to contract that disease? Obviously, person number two over here, the person that eats a poor diet, doesn't exercise, and is less healthy. So, what can make a plant sick or destroy it? Insects, obviously, diseases. Plants can get diseases just like humans can. Nutrient deficiencies, if they're not getting enough of a particular nutrient, and then weed infestations as well. Okay, we'll go ahead and stop there for right now. You do have questions on Canvas that I want you to answer regarding plant health. So make sure that you have watched the video and make sure that you answer those questions on Canvas. Remember, this assignment is due by Tuesday, the 14th by 11:59. Let me know if you have any questions. Thanks and have a great day.